Salut les amis, je suis au plus grand événement d'impression 3D en Angleterre. Ça s'appelle le Smurf et on va découvrir tout ça ensemble. C'est parti. Smurf pour Sanjay Mortimer RepRap Festival, qui est une fondation qui aide les gens avec une neurodivergence. Ici, on va trouver pas mal de projets do it yourself, des créateurs de contenu et j'ai eu la chance de participer en 2024 pour soutenir la cause et je vais vous faire visiter cet événement. Je suis avec l'équipe Voron, Thomas et Félix. Et ils vont nous expliquer qu'est-ce que c'est Voron pour les gens qui ne le connaissent pas. Les amis, comment ça va?
Ça va super bien.
Ça va. Super.
Voron, qu'est-ce que c'est? Le principe de pouvoir faire soi-même sa propre imprimante. Donc l'idée, c'est de pouvoir construire une imprimante qu'on va pouvoir améliorer avec toutes les nouvelles technologies qui vont sortir. Et du coup, le principe, c'est que comme on construit soi-même sa propre machine, on sait exactement comment tout va fonctionner et on a la possibilité de mettre absolument tout ce qu'on veut dedans avec les nouvelles technologies qui vont s'y joindre.
Créer une imprimante 3D de A à Z, est-ce que c'est compliqué ou on a quelques guides, des documents?
C'est super simple en réalité. La machine elle est fournie, c'est un kit qu'on peut acheter tout seul ou alors on peut récupérer, acheter des pièces de son côté. Et après on a le manuel d'assemblage et ça se monte comme un meuble Ikea. Il suffit de suivre le manuel étape par étape. C'est très simple et c'est accessible à tout le monde. Après il y a également la communauté sur internet. Si jamais on a des problèmes, on peut poser des questions sur Discord par exemple et on a la réponse très rapidement. C'est très ouvert comme communauté.
C'est une communauté où il y a pratiquement 50 000 personnes avec facilement 1000-1500 personnes qui parlent français. Donc réellement, comme vient de le dire Félix, c'est quelque chose qui se monte aussi facilement qu'un meuble Ikea. Et si on a un problème, on a 1500 personnes capables de nous répondre, quoi.
La question se pose parce que les gens disent pourquoi choisir Voron? Moi j'ai beaucoup de pourquoi, mais en venant de vous, est-ce que c'est l'expérience, est-ce que c'est la vitesse, est-ce que c'est l'ergonomie, c'est la communauté? Pour vous, chacun d'entre vous, vous pouvez me sortir un mot pour dire l'expérience Voron, c'est ça.
C'est la communauté qui va avec.
Clairement la communauté pour moi aussi, ouais, sans problème.
Donc le do it yourself, l'expérience de le construire, tout ça.
Exactement. En fait aujourd'hui l'impression 3D c'est quelque chose qui se démocratise de plus en plus. Il y a de plus en plus de machines accessibles sur le marché, mais chacune a sa communauté associée et pour le coup la communauté qui est avec les machines Voron sont vraiment, la communauté est excellente, quoi.
On a le côté satisfaisant d'avoir fait soi-même sa machine. On a le côté d'avoir une communauté qui participe, qui aide, qui est toujours là pour répondre aux questions. Il y a aussi le fait de se dire, en fait, demain j'ai envie d'essayer quelque chose, je peux. Et je suis pas bridé par les technologies qui vont appartenir à des boîtes comme Bamboo Lab ou comme Prusa ou ainsi de suite. Là, on a vraiment la possibilité de faire absolument tout ce qu'on veut. On décide de partir avec une machine qui va avoir un hot-end qui va être de telle marque ou de telle marque. On peut. Tout est possible, tout est adaptable. Et l'idée, c'est que c'est hyper inclusif. C'est-à-dire que s'il y a quelqu'un qui vient avec une idée, en fait, on va pouvoir l'aider à la mettre en pratique et voir si ça fonctionne. Et si ça fonctionne, en fait, l'adapter sur toutes les autres machines.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci à toi. Merci, ouais.
Et on continue avec la visite de cet événement. Et ici, comme je disais, on peut trouver des machines très cool et très différentes, comme cette machine qui imprime avec de la cold shot faite par mon ami John Scone. Et maintenant, je vais vous présenter une autre machine très différente et très cool. Les amis, je suis avec Caleb parce que là, on a une imprimante exceptionnelle, déjà jamais vue. Il imprime des chocolats. Donc, il va nous expliquer comment ça marche, qu'est-ce que c'est, et on va goûter quelques chocolats. Caleb, thank you for the interview. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking.
Great. Where are you from? Where are you coming for the Smurf?
We are from the States. The Cocoa Press is located in Philadelphia.
Great. So please tell us about Cocoa Press because this is amazing. Like for French people, they're gonna love it.
Yes. Well, the Cocoa Press, at its simplest explanation, is just a chocolate 3D printer. We can 3D print in chocolate. We've been working for many years to take existing technologies like a paste extruder and make it print chocolate perfectly.
We are working with chocolate, but I don't see any filaments or where is the chocolate coming from? Like you need to put it directly on the machine?
The chocolate is actually inside this canister here. And it looks like this. This is the white chocolate version of the chocolate. But you don't have to use our chocolate. So if you are a chocolatier or somebody who is very skilled with chocolates, you can make your own chocolates to use in the machine.
And I know that temperature can be tricky. What is your experience with this? I heard that we have like two different zones of heating. Can you please explain us a little bit more of it?
Absolutely. So there's two different ways that we tackle that issue. For many people who are not good with chocolate, because chocolate is very difficult, we have these pre-made ones that use palm oil, so it doesn't have to be tempered.
Okay.
But if you work with chocolate a lot, you want to make a higher quality chocolate. And so we have the machine capable of being adjusted down to the 10th of a degree. So a regular 3D printer, you can change 1 whole degree, maybe 30C to 31C. This printer, we can change by the 10th of the degree. So you can go 30C, 30.01C, 30.02C.
Very precise.
And we do have 2 heating zones, so you have even more fine control. Because again, with chocolate, you need as much control as possible to be able to successfully print it.
And what about the slicer? What are you using for slicing your prints?
We have a default profile in Prusa Slicer.
Oh, nice.
So you can just download Prusa Slicer, select our machine, and it's ready to go.
Great. So you were telling me that right now, as 1 week ago, Cocoa Press is exporting to UK and all the European.
Yes. So we had so many people asking us that it was becoming a burden. We had so many people. So we figured out how to ship it to the UK and the EU and make sure that it was still all legal and safe and things like that. So now we can ship to the EU starting in February.
Great. So the question, what is the price of the cocoa?
So the kit that you assemble yourself in US dollars begins at 1,500.
Okay.
But we're running a special deal that brings it down to about 1,200. So euros is similar. It's very similar.
more or
Maybe
less, yeah.
1,000 euros. Similar. Yeah.
Great. So congratulations. I think this is revolutionary. It's different, it's beautiful, and it's tasteful.
And the prints are amazing. You have to look at the prints and taste them as well.
Yeah, and you were telling me like you don't have any scrap material.
Yes, this is the one printer where there's never a failure. There's only unexpected treats.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Caleb.
Thank you very much.
Et petite pause pour remercier le sponsor de cette vidéo, Polymaker. Ça fait plusieurs années que je travaille avec Polymaker, notamment pour la partie cosplay. Et oui, avec ces cosplays-là, j'ai pu réaliser l'Iron Man Midas. Ces filaments est mon favori parce que ça s'éponce très bien et c'est facile à peindre. Mais aussi, grâce à leur grand catalogue de filaments techniques, on a pu créer quelques projets très intéressants dans la chaîne. L'autre filament que j'utilise beaucoup et que j'adore, c'est le Polymax. Pourquoi? Parce qu'il a les mêmes caractéristiques qu'un ABS, mais ça s'imprime très facilement comme un PLA. Depuis la Formnext, Polymaker a annoncé le Panchroma et le Fiveron. Avec Panchroma, on va trouver toute la palette des couleurs originales de Polymaker. Et chez Fiveron, on va trouver toute la partie technique de la marque. En France, on peut retrouver ces filaments chez les revendeurs officiels. Et oui, Polymaker, c'est une des meilleures marques de filaments au monde et je remercie encore pour le sponsor de cette vidéo. Allez, on va continuer avec la visite. Avec les amis de Polymaker et merci beaucoup. Comment ça va?
Oui, ça va bien. Et tu?
Ah, yeah. Could you please tell us about these awesome prints?
So you've got the U-Forge paintings. They're designed by Ian Smalley from U-Forge and then printed by Luke Taylor from Polymaker. And so here we have the Van Gogh. It's I think it's over 12 colors. And then arranged in a way that really demonstrates our new Panchroma filament. As you can see, I don't think we have any models that have so many logos on there as this one. We've got I'd say about 100 Panchroma logos. Yeah.
So you have like a tile, right?
Yeah, these are 6 tiles because the only limiting factor is your print bed, and you have to print them flat. And so it does a lot of layer swaps. A lot of color changes, and then you get this cool effect. So here we have the Van Gogh, we've got the Andy Warhol over here, and there's of course, the recognizable Mona Lisa. This is our new composite material family. So it's PBSCF. The material is so stiff that it rings like a bell, and it has a heat diffraction temperature of 250 degrees. So it's our ultra engineering material. We've got guitar over there that's printed in PET CF, and that's like a general engineering material. It's easy to print and cost effective. This is our new filament dryer. It's called the Poly Dryer. We don't have the unit on here now, but it's a drying and storing in one. So you dry your filament and then you close the latches, and then the idea is that you never have to touch your spool again. Once it's dried, the seal's very tight. And there's nice rubber gaskets, so you will never have to touch your filament. Chroma is our new filament palette. It's got over 160 colors.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where we're really trying to give the most options of color to our consumer.
And I see a beautiful helmet.
Yes.
That guy is amazing.
Yeah, I don't really like the helmet, to be honest, but no. This is the helmet made by Colors 3D, of course, showpiece of our COS PLA.
Exactly.
Everybody's really interested in how you're gonna get that finish on filament. I've been telling them, yep, talk
Sanding and sanding.
sanding.
Exactly.
And
Thank you much for the interview.
no problem.
See you later.
See you again.
Yeah.
Visiter les stands des Polymakers, c'est toujours très cool. On passe un bon moment. On peut s'amuser avec des jeux à fléchettes et gagner quelques prix. Moi, franchement, c'est pas mon truc. Je crois que ça se voit. Mais entre-temps, on a eu la visite de le bon ami Mickey de chez Prusa. Allez, on continue et on visite le stand de Prusa. Et les amis, on est avec la Prusa Core One et ils sont déjà sortis quelques avancées. Venez voir ça. Il y a toute la partie des add-ons qui vont permettre de ranger tous les outils. Je trouve ça génial. Évidemment, tout ça fonctionne avec des aimants. Et on va passer de l'autre côté. Et Mickey vient de voir la meilleure upgrade, c'est le poisson magique.
Plus un fichier.
Thank you Mickey. De l'autre côté, on peut regarder la partie le dry box, tout ce qui va permettre d'avoir le filament libre de l'humidité. Donc on voit vraiment ici, c'est la partie de silica. Ici, on va pouvoir mettre de silica à l'intérieur. Et là, normalement, le filament va sortir par ici. Il y a un petit fil qui sort et voilà. Tout est en magnète aimant et on peut regarder la température, l'humidité. Et pour tous les gens qui sont intéressés, il vient de sortir le modèle de la tirelire pour tout le monde qui veut la Prusa Core One. Vous pouvez commencer à économiser des sous pour imprimer, pour avoir cette imprimante-là. J'adore ce type d'événements parce qu'on trouve vraiment les passionnés et on voit des projets formidables. Je trouvais un petit peu plus intéressant que la Formnext, je ne vais pas vous cacher. Il y avait des projets très cool, il y avait beaucoup de créateurs de contenu avec leur stand et une des activités que j'ai découvert lors de cet événement, c'était les Dead Racers. Alors les Dead Racers, c'est des voitures télécommandées et c'est un projet créé par le bon ami Sam Prentice. Il y avait pas mal de participants, il y avait même des gens qui venaient des États-Unis et les règles sont simples. Ici, il faut pas perdre la tête. Et oui, je sais, blague nul, mais c'est si simple que ça. En gros, il faut juste taper les têtes des adversaires pour que la voiture s'arrête. Ah, et un truc que je trouvais très intéressant, c'est qu'ils ont fait un coin pour les enfants. Ici, ils peuvent passer un bon moment et découvrir l'impression 3D. Les amis, je suis avec une marque très intéressante qui s'appelle Positron. Positron, c'est une machine très différente qui imprime à l'envers. Alors oui, le lit, il est là et la bus, il est de l'autre côté. Je suis avec Nomad et lui, il va nous expliquer comment ça fonctionne et c'est quoi le plus intéressant sur Positron. Nomad, thank you for the interview. So, please, Positron. Can you please explain us what is the concept of the machine?
So Positron 3D was started by Kraylin and myself, Kraylin being the original designer of the Positron. And what it really is, it's the idea of compact portable printing. So the whole reason that we are printing upside down is because we wanted to be able to fold the printer and take it with us when we are on campus in university. You don't get a lot of space in dormitories in the States, and so we obviously couldn't just lug a Ender 3 around or a heavier or larger printer. So we wanted something that was small, compact, and we can put away in our desk or take it with us to the workshop. So that is why we designed Positron. And LDO and Jason, they came in, they were very interested in this and they wanted to make it into a kit after we released the design. So we worked with them to develop the 3.2, and not only did we succeed in that aspect, but we also have made something that has been incredibly powerful and fast and good high quality.
What is the magic behind printing the other way around?
Upside down is, again, the result of us wanting to make it compact and portable. So if you look at a standard Core XY machine like the Rook over here, all the motors are typically at the top of the gantry with the tool head and the rest of the motion system. But on the Positron, in order to make it so you don't have to re-square the gantry, recalibrate a bunch of things, all you have to do is level your bed, if at all, and we put all the motors in the base of the printer so that you don't have to recalibrate all those things all over again. And as a result, we print upside down now. Now, we have the old hot end for our V3 here. Now, we've replaced this with one that is made by LDO, but this was done by Fadus. You'll see it in some of their factory tour videos. And this was a die-cast hot end that we made that would allow for the filament to take a smooth path through the right angle. Turns out, filament does not care when it's liquid on whatever direction it's going. So now we just do CNC into the block and we're able to get volcano-like speeds out of this thing. I don't know the exact number. I think it's like 50 to 60 millimeters cubed, something like that. We're able to print extremely fast. We also have a overhang test that we just did. Obviously, this is printed like this, but if you print this on a Mark IV or Bamboo, it's like this. And our biggest issue with this is that our cooling is actually a little too strong. So right now we're printing this again even faster so that the fan has less time to accidentally
Cool it down.
Yeah. So we're very happy with the result. All the things that we're having here are easily tuned. I haven't tuned these printers since I got here, so this is kind of a stock performance, but you can push this even further as hard as you want.
Couple of technical questions. Do you use like load cells or do you have end stops with the build plate? It is heated or and do you use anything like 3D lag or something like that?
It is heated. It is using what's called an ITO coating, indium tin oxide. It's the same thing that most phones use for touch sensitivity. So when you apply voltage to it, it will heat up, and it's just an even coat on the back of the glass, and it works really well. Now, for bed leveling, we are experimenting with load cells and piezos, but they are not currently in the kit as it is. We have a Z end stop, but it is sensorless homing for everything else. And for bed leveling, we have a IR probe built into the toolhead. That works well on our PCB bed, but for the glass, we'd recommend just manual leveling because it's really fast to do so.
I think people will love it, and please, in France, you need to check this because it's really amazing. We didn't say it on the interview, but this can be packed on a spool box. Is that correct?
Yes, so the original design challenge that we had for the Positron was to make a printer that could fold into a filament box. And that was just one of those fun challenges that you see if you can even achieve. And we were able to do that. And the 3.2 is still capable of fitting inside a filament box. Everything except the power brick. But the best part about this is that it's portable, but more importantly, it's compact. One of the things I like to tell people, especially in the States, is that we don't leave our appliances out if we don't use them often. For example, blenders or, tea kettles, we don't leave them out, we put them away. And with a 3D printer, you can't do that because it's way too big. It takes up permanent space. I'm not gonna take my Prusa XL and just stick it underneath the cupboard. But with this, I actually have like 5 or 6 in my workshop that I have stored away. And when all my other printers are in use, I take them out, deploy them, and I start using them to print additional items. So I can be more efficient in my workflow because these allow me to be scalable.
Thank you very much, Naman.
No problem, thank you.
So, every 3D print, I believe, truly has a story and a soul. And so I've developed this is a one-of-one, first prototype, first to exist in the world, Soul Scanner. So when you put a 3D print on this Soul Scanner, it finds the story within the print and it shows it to you on this screen. This is an exclusive for Smurf. Like, trust me, you wanna check it out. So
Can we?
let's try it.
Let's try it out.
It's a bit temperamental, so sometimes it takes a bit longer than
Yeah, because the soul speaking is like every soul is different. That's why.
Complex, exactly. It's a really, I'm glad you appreciate it.
Oh. But how are you doing that amazing time lapse?
Oh, thank you very much. Perseverance. It's a lot of time. Like, you may see one time lapse. There's probably about 3 or 4 that were done that were out of focus, wrong lighting, doesn't show the words inside properly, because the issue, or one of the issues that I've had making these, is that I have been using one color to do the prints. So getting the contrast between the text and the rest of the print and the support material can be difficult unless the lighting and the shadows highlight it in a nice way. So if you have very flat lighting, it's quite difficult. Thankfully, I've developed ways and often done many prints and then eventually come to the right thing.
How does it work? Or is a secret, like?
No, it's not a secret. I've made a video about it. I will make more because I think the first one I make wasn't super clear, but essentially I start off with the music, with the sound. I put it into a video editing software. I then count the number of frames there are for each word that's in the print. Each frame is one layer of my print. If my layer height is 0.2 millimeters, say I have 5 layers, that's 1 millimeter thick. So you have to correspond it with the frame rate of the video. It's less complicated than I'm making it sound, I promise, but you basically count how many frames are in there, times it by the layer height, and you get the height of the feature, and then you design the model around that feature set. Yeah, it's a bit more complicated, but honestly, I just have like Excel sheets with numbers that I times it, and I know how high every layer. It's a bit of manual work.
Je vous conseille d'aller visiter les réseaux sociaux de Prash parce qu'il fait vraiment de l'art avec de l'impression 3D. On est avec Steve de Huforge. Oui, vous connaissez bien Huforge avec toute la panoplie d'impression 3D à plat. Et regardez toutes les belles choses qu'on peut sortir avec cet outil. Steve, thank you for the interview. Could you please explain us a little bit more about Huforge?
So Huforge is a piece of software I wrote to handle making images using your 3D printer, but in a non-traditional way. So doing multicolor by layer swaps is something I'm really comfortable with. I've done it for a long time, but you always spend all your time printing extra layers so that you get solid colors. And I finally realized that this is an opportunity instead of a problem. And we can take small layers of colors and make many, many intermediate shades of colors rather than just big solid chunky colors. And so Huforge is a piece of software I wrote to let us do that. So it'll build an STL mesh, and then based on the color and the transparency of your filament, which it needs to know, a value we call TD, or transmission distance, it will predict what it will look like based on where you swap your colors and what colors you use. It won't pick your colors for you. You have to do that. You have to use your artistic skills.
Exactly.
But it will let you make some really amazing stuff.
But what about the future? Do you have like any ideas of what Huforge going to look like 3 years from now?
So the big push, I think, coming soon, there's 2 main things I want to do. One is I want to make the interface more friendly to other languages. So I want to get translations, but I also want to go to more of an icon-based interface so that it's obvious from the picture what it does rather than having to read a word. But I do want to get translated, localized Huforge for French, Spanish, German, that are very commonly requested. And it's something I've always wanted to do, but I haven't had time to stop and do. So I want to make the UI more streamlined, more obvious, better on smaller monitors. The other thing I want to do is open up a plugin architecture to add some features that people have been asking for, but I haven't necessarily been something that I've been specifically interested in doing for various reasons. One of the core tenets of Huforge is that you always can do it with any printer because it's just swap by layer. But there are plenty of tool changers and AMS units and variants out there, and there are plenty of people who want to do things that require multiple colors per layer. And I don't have an objection to that, but I don't want that to be part of the core Huforge. So that opens up the door for plugins, where someone can add that capability, or I can add that capability as an optional add-on to Huforge. And then things like automatic color selection and things like that would also fall under that umbrella.
Do you think there is a room for Huforge for making some 3D sculpture? Huforge, or it is something that Huforge is interested, or do you think it's like out of the scope of the brand?
That's another really good question. So the problem right now with trying to do 3D models in HueForge is that we print at layer heights of 0.8, 0.5, 0.4, and nozzle diameters are so much bigger than that you're not going to get the color blending that you want, plus of course the waste. What we've been seeing though is an increase of higher capability printers coming into the consumer space. So as 4 and 5 axis printers start coming into the consumer space, then it does make sense to start looking at that because I can apply it as a surface layer. But that's just not in the consumer space. Exactly. And I'm at the hobby level, so I'm not really looking for that.
Technology will evolve, so do you.
So will HueForge, yes. Thank you very much. The French crowd has been awesome with HueForge, and I'm excited to see them keeping going.
Thanks. Is this Big Tree Tech?
Yes.
PLA?
Oh, BQ. BQ and Big Tree Tech is the same company. Big Tree Tech is more of like electronic stuff, so like drivers, screens, motherboards, controllers, that sort of thing. And BQ is accessories like hot ends, extruders, sands.
Okay, and what is the name of the filament again? Sorry.
It's PLA HR.
So PLA is like easy to print with a direct drive.
The slicer setting is actually exactly the same as PLA. So you just use PLA settings to print this, but it's, as you can see, very bouncy.
Yeah, it's like so nice. Ok, je suis un peu nul en basket. Moi en mexicain, je suis plus en football, mais franchement, ça va. Hein.
It's like softer than PLA. But it's also stiffer than TPU, so it gives you the actual bounce.
Okay, got it. Can I try? Ok, et c'est quand même assez stretchy.
Yeah, stretchy. Yeah.
Nice. So, yeah, and I saw your multicolor solution.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about it?
Yes. So the full name is Vivid because Vivid colors.
Nice.
But the short is VVD. This is a multi-color solution that we've designed for Klipper printers. So only Klipper, but anything that runs Klipper can use it.
Okay.
It has a integrated dryer. And it does 4 roll of filaments in 1 unit, but you can link up as many units to the printer as you want. The only thing is currently only 16 colors is available or enabled in Orca Slicer. So
yeah, I mean, but 16 is like quite a lot, right?
yeah. So currently it's software limited, but if Orca opens up to infinite, then this does infinite. So we have 2 versions. One version without the dryer, it's just a multi-color system.
Okay.
That goes for about $250 US.
Okay.
And then there's a version with the heater, so the dryer, and that goes about $300 US.
Okay.
So lead time, or not lead time, we plan to release this maybe in 5 or 6 months time.
Et ça les amis, c'était le Smurf 2024. Je tiens à remercier à l'organisation pour m'avoir bien accueilli et j'ai passé un super bon moment et j'espère que vous aussi.
Salut les amis, je suis à l'événement
À l'événement le plus important de la Grande-Bretagne des impressions 3D. Alors encore.
À l'événement le plus important des...
La petite... c'est quoi un tirelire en fait?
Wow. I think my legs are gonna lower.